Welcome back to our playlist on PHP and MySQL for 2024. On the last video we created the database, so on this video we are going to actually start working with the database. We're going to start to create the connection. How do we connect the database now that we have created it? So this is what we're going to learn right now. So we have the database which we created on the last video with all these with the table that we have here and all these fields: ID, name, email, phone, status, kids, and interest. So now what we're going to do is, let's go back. We're going to go here on our Explorer, and as you remember, this is where we have XAMPP installed, and in XAMPP we go to htdocs, the documents, and usually this is where everything is hosted, and this is where you can put all your folders of whatever website you create. So in our case we already have here PHP course, and we also have an index. We're not going to work with that, but we are going to work in this folder, PHP course. So if you don't have it, go into htdocs of your XAMPP. And by the way, there's on the first video of this series I show you how to install XAMPP, how to configure and things like that. You can watch that video. It's actually this one here where you're gonna learn how to install XAMPP and configure it so you can start working with your database. So this is the folder PHP. If you remember what we're gonna do from here, we're gonna do Shift on your keyboard, and then we're gonna right click, we're gonna open PowerShell. Now PowerShell is open. We're gonna type over here code with a dot, and that will bring Visual Studio Code. We already have this index, but we're not going to be working on the index. The index is just I think this was actually on the first video that we created our index. Let me see what's inside. Yeah, we just put an echo with a word displaying full bootcamp. So now what we're going to do is going to do the connection to the database. So we're going to create a new file. We can call it connection PHP. Okay, we're gonna update this later. And over here, if you want to know how to do this also and you need a little bit of help, what you can do is you can go to php.net, and this is where you have the documentation of php.net, and you have it in different languages. In this case we're gonna look for the documentation in English, and you have many things: installation of PHP and Windows systems and things like that. You have even some courses on examples and things like that on how it works. So it's a very good resource that you can use here. But the one that I want to do is I want to go and grab the SQL. Okay, over here you can see that SQL now is working from PHP 5 and over. Before we were working with MySQL, but this is the new way we work with MySQL over here. And connections, as you can see, it gives you an idea of how this is done. There you go. So I'm gonna copy it right from this, so we don't need to rewrite the whole thing. If you're like me, you don't want to type too much. You already have things already done for you, so why not use them? So let's go back over here, and on this file what we're gonna do, okay, we are going to let me just configure my keyboard to English. Okay, so that's the tag to open a PHP. So we're saying to the file that we're gonna be working with PHP, and this is the closing tag. So basically what's going on over here is that we're creating a variable called MySQL, and on that variable we are creating here a new instance of this function, and the function is MySQL, and the information that we're giving is the localhost. Localhost, as you can remember, it's over here. Localhost, it's right here. It's the connection to our database. And what else we have? We have the name of the table. Do you remember the name of the table that we had before? Actually, no, sorry. This is actually the user of the database. In my case, it is gonna be root. And as a password, I don't have a password, so we're gonna remove and leave this empty. And then finally, what we have is the name of our database, and the name of the database, we called it, if I remember correctly, project PHP. It's right here, project PHP. I'm not gonna put the capital just in case it's capital sensitive. So this is the information we have. So this variable we are given, this is all the information of our database, which we're putting this on this variable. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna do an if statement to test if the connection is correct or not. So this is the way you do an if statement. In between those two parentheses, this is what we're gonna say. If this condition happens, then you execute the code that is in between those two brackets. So what is the condition in our case? We're gonna say if MySQL pseudocode is actually helping auto completing over here. So if MySQL, and we're gonna say connect error as so. Okay, so if all this gives an error, basically this is what we're saying, we're gonna exit. In PHP die, it's a little bit like an exit. So here we can put a message, connection error. Okay, and we can use what we call concatenation, which we can give other instructions here. So we're gonna say MySQL, and we're gonna again refer to the connection error that we used before. Okay, there you go. So what are we saying here? We're saying basically, if there's an error, give us this message to let us know what is the error. Okay, so it's pretty simple. And we're gonna just do like this and Control S to save. Now we're gonna test and see if this is actually working. How do we test this? We go back on our browser and we're gonna go to the local host, and this time we're gonna say here it's gonna be website. Remember the path. If you don't remember the path, you can go back over here and you actually have the path here. So we're gonna use this, copy and put it over here. Just let me make sure that this is the correct. Let me go back here on the docs. Actually no, we don't need the website. See, website is here. We go right here on PHP course. See, this is what is helpful to go back. This is helpful. So website over here, we don't need it. It's PHP course. And now we can say, see, we get access to the index. Let's go to the index just for fun. So this is the full bootcamp. So this comes from, just to recap from the last time, it's actually this file index. So now it's gonna be, now that we have the path, we know where it is. The only thing we need to do is over here is change the connection. It's change the path to connection PHP. And as you can see, there's no message. No message simple means that the connection is successful, but we want to make sure that it was actually successful. So let's go into the connection and we're gonna say over here print f, and we can say server info. Server info is we're gonna give the information about the server, and we're gonna do again a concatenation, and I'm gonna put the variable MySQL and use this server info function like this. Okay, so this will give us over here the information when we're gonna run this, the information of the server. We are missing a little bit of information here. Now what we need to give over here is some parameters to say server info, which server info you're talking about. Then you use %s and the backlash n to say this, the one that I'll put after this comma. So this information will be put over here. With this function printf, you can actually do that. You can say this over here means I'll put some more information, and that information you put over here. So that information we're talking about is here. This is the server info. We're gonna put it here. So when it's gonna display, it's gonna say server info, and then it will give the information of the server. Now we're gonna control S to give it a test, and now if I run this, there you have it. You have the information of the server with the server info. And you'll find this server info. Let's see. As you can see, you have the information about how to use this function over here. You can actually say it also MySQL get server, but we are not working with MySQL, so it's more MySQL server maybe. Let me see. MySQL. Let me try to type it. SQL. MySQL error. See, we have here MySQL server version. It's not giving me the server info, but it's about the same thing. And you see, it's exactly what I was talking about. This is the way we did it with the printf, and that will give us the server information. We can do a server version. Let's change it to server version to see if, what does it change. Version, Control S. So as you can see, there's great resources available on php.net, server info, and it gives us some other information over here. So basically this is how you connect using MySQL. As over here you can see we use the same connection. So this is saying that we are connecting to the database because there's no error. It goes directly on this line of code. If let's say I would put a different password, let's say 123, which is not my password because I have not set any password, it should give me now an error. So if we go back and refresh, as you can see, access denied for root using password. So it's telling us there's a problem. Connection line 3, access denied because the password is not good. So that's the way you connect. So now I know that we are connecting to the database properly by using this sample variable MySQL. Let's refresh. There you have it. I'll put here info because so it gives us the version like that. Okay, so this is actually not necessary because we know that, well, not really necessary, just it gives us an extra way to know that it's running, that the condition is met, that it's not going into the die, instead it's coming over here. We can actually even, if I comment this, okay, so if I comment this and I put an echo, connections successful like this. Is it successful like that? Successful. Connection successful. Okay, and if I go back over here, connection successful. That's another way to do it. I show you two ways to do it. Either you can use the print function, or you can just do an echo and say the connection is successful, just to let you know that you were connected successfully. Or hold on, you were, or actually you don't need to overcomplicate this, but hey, I'm just showing you database connection successful. Okay, all right, so in our next video we're gonna continue working on our database. If you found any value on this course, I would really appreciate if you show me some support by subscribing. It's totally free. Just take 10 seconds of your time just to show me your support by subscribing. It might not mean a lot to you, but it does mean a lot to me. Also, if you're serious about your learning, then I suggest you to go to Udemy over here, and then you search Web Developer 2024, and my course will come over here, the third one over here. When you click on it, that will bring you to the full course that I developed for you guys, how to become a web front developer 2024 beginners bootcamp. It's packed with a lot of information for you guys, the full roadmap over here. You have the setup, how to set up your environment, the FB system. Nobody has this system. This is a great system that will allow you to implement and understand the code really quick. And then you have a full bootcamp on HTML. You also have another bootcamp on Bootstrap. You have also another bootcamp on web hosting and how to go live with your websites. Then I give you an introduction to Angular. I also talk to you about version control, Git, and how to set it up for front-end development, and also help you to connect to Angular with Git. Also, I give you another overview with Visual Studio Code and backend project with PHP as the one you're seeing right now. Also, that's an introduction to PHP, JavaScript, and much more. And this is always being updated for you guys to give you the best information that you need. So I will give you the full roadmap on how to become a web developer in 2024.